This is Snakes and Otters, a pointless discussion of eternal questions. Get ready. We're about to live in your head rent-free.
This is episode 205.
I am Martin.
And I'm Robert.
I'm Francis.
I'm Marcus.
And I'm Cajun, and I'll be captaining this one. This one's going to be a little bit different. It's the Hoopajoob.
Hoopajoob!
Oh, yeah.
And right now, we've had a little something special going on. I've had all the fellas out here for a whole weekend.
All right, in Studio C in the Great Resort C.
Down in the Holy Land.
Amen.
Now, at this point in time, Bourbon Festival is going on in Bardstown, our bourbon capital of the world here.
Not to
Also
be confused
Bourbon
with those
and Beyond
fakers
in Louisville.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying it's not a good show up that way,
but it is
with
more of a
original.
show.
Right.
Yes, it is more of a show.
It's
is
a
more
concert
music
series.
acts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Bourbon Festival is more about the tasting, getting to try new flavors you may not normally be able to, and we've been spending the last 2 days over there thoroughly enjoying it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's almost like a tour without the touring.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yes.
the tasting part of the tour because they all want to have their wares out for you. So, you know, they're pouring essentially shots, probably less than a
Yeah,
shot.
less than that.
Much
About
less,
a half
yeah.
shot, maybe.
Half shot, maybe.
A half an ounce.
Of whatever they're wanting to showcase at a given time.
Yes. It's interesting because they are free with their pouring. I will give them that.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
You can.
All except the Woodford guy.
I don't
Notice
remember.
that?
I think he was jealous of your mustache.
He was just
Yeah.
barely putting a drop in there, man.
Oh, real? I don't think I tasted anything there because well, we have the
malt.
Woodford all
The
the
malt.
time. Oh, the malt. That's right. We did
malt.
have the
Yeah.
malt.
I had the
Yes.
malt. I didn't recall any being stingy on
He
that.
was stingy.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he was a little stingy, but yeah, it's still.
Everybody else gave you a nice.
We
was
got a good.
they
We got a
jumped
good
it.
taste.
That was one of the last ones we went to. It might have been the last, actually.
Yeah.
Supplies
Pretty
maybe
close.
you're getting low by
Well,
that
I mean,
point. I mean,
Could be.
You have, well over 70, 75 different distillers and probably, 150 different bourbons being shown off?
At least
Easily.
because
At least.
everybody had at least two. I think most people had at least three.
Yeah,
So,
three.
Yeah, and some would have 6 and 7, depending on what they're
Exactly.
doing.
Yeah, so it's
at
probably
least 20 big name distillers, and like
Yes.
I said before, 50 plus craft distillers over
Exactly.
there.
yeah. And when you throw in all of the different there had to be over 200 different
Mm-hmm.
beverages, and then when you throw in the mixed beverages,
Yeah, that's
Some were
true,
serving
too.
cocktail
There was
mixes.
quite
Yeah,
a
there's a lot of
few.
cocktails.
Tasty.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights of the day. Actually, were the cocktails that we tried. We didn't try any until this today, and I was impressed.
We tried an old fashioned yesterday?
Yes, old fashioned.
Oh, you guys had
yesterday
one.
from
I
the
didn't have one of
Bardstown
those.
Bourbon Company.
Yes.
Mhm.
I didn't have that.
I've never had an old fashioned before, and I can truly say that while it was okay, somebody handed a drink to me at a party or something, I'd drink it, but I probably wouldn't go and ask for one.
I've got a good friend of mine that makes a very good old fashioned, and he takes his time with it, and it is excellent. It is very excellent, and I can go through that, and it doesn't bother me at all in any way.
Oh yeah, it's not that. It's just
I'm good for one, and then my taste buds are done with that particular.
yes, I think that's a very good way to put it. Yeah. But it's
uh,
an incredible experience at the fest. It really is.
was.
Yes.
Who mixed up the one with the like the apple cider and the
Uh,
caramel? What was
That was
that?
Jeff the Creed, wasn't
Yep,
it?
the Creed. We
It
were
was
over
Jeff
there
the
with their
Creed.
rye.
Right.
Oh
that-
yes. They started with the rye, added the apple cider, and then the caramel.
Yeah,
on top.
they called the recipe. It was done by one of the lady who was in the booth,
Yeah, she's the daughter of. She is one of the owners. Her and her mother.
Right.
Yeah,
and they called it was it Harvest Rye.
Harvest Rye.
Yes,
That's
so,
right.
yes.
Yeah. Autumn
It-
was her name. Yeah.
Yes, it was like drinking caramel apples.
It was. It was.
And,
very,
that's,
very
and that's a
good.
compliment. It really is.
Yes, yes, very much
it's
so.
Very, it's very. It was full-bodied and sweet, and yet you couldn't taste the bourbon, but you didn't need to. It was.
Well,
that good.
that depends
You
because
kinda
in this
could. I
case-
mean, it
yeah.
was,
I mean, it was,
because the bad thing about that, as you well know, Francis,
yes.
some alcoholic beverages that are too sweet can be imbibed too fast, too much.
That's correct. Absolutely. Well, we made that comment at the time. I said,
Yes,
this could have easily been one of those. Yes.
and could leave someone ass up, face down, thrown up off the side of the highway.
Right underneath the
Underneath the overpass,
That's
That was
right.
my first girlfriend on the picnic table, wasn't it?
okay.
Ah.
This is
So
an
much for that
episode where-
family rating.
and say we're feeling pretty ornery already, and
Well, we've all had a lot of bourbon today.
this one could
and
go
yesterday.
off track pretty hard.
Well, speaking of a lot of bourbon, we're going to do instead of a bourbon break this time, we're having a tasting. I've got 4 unknown bourbons lined up, just like a tasting anywhere else you would go to.
Hang on a second. We still got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
There we go. And I'm the only one that knows what they are at this point.
Right.
I've
But they
given-
are all bourbon.
They are all bourbon,
Okay.
pure bourbon. So we're going to do one at a time, about every 15 minutes throughout
We're
the
going to do one
show.
now.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Go ahead and
Oh.
open it.
Go ahead and
and
crack it open. Number one.
Take a
Number one.
sniff
Gentlemen.
and so forth, and
And add an
we'll
ice.
see what you have to say.
You've provided an ice cube to go with it if we
If
wish.
you wish, maybe take a sample before you add the
I'm
ice.
going to add the ice in this one here.
I just did the, breathed it in and got a hint of mint, I thought, already. I haven't tasted it yet.
Possibly.
Like a spearmint, maybe?
Yeah, it's got a
Oh,
butter.
that's interesting.
There's a little butter there.
That first sip, it really hits you in the upper part of the mouth, the upper
Yep,
palate.
stays up there where it doesn't go up in
Um,
the sinuses or any of that sort of stuff here.
Yeah. Interesting.
Morton, any comment? Mark?
It's,
Oh, the Emperor's putting his nose to work.
Oh, well, he is the nose.
Well,
gentlemen.
well, that honker can do some work.
mhm.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a heavier wheat content.
Oh, that ice cube makes a difference.
It does. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't try it without, but yeah,
I did. I always like to take that sip as a baseline.
it's got a chocolate or a cacao type of thing to it.
It definitely has some sweetness there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
And it's a higher proof too. I think.
I don't know.
I mean, it seems a little bit potent.
Maybe in the 100
Yeah,
proof
I was
range?
gonna say it's in the 100 proof range. That's my
But not like one of the 110s, 150s.
no, it's not one of those big ones, but
Mm.
it's not an 84 or a 90.
Little buttery.
Yeah, I caught that.
He said that
Yeah, I
too.
said that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Little
okay.
little
Consensus.
buttery and
Martin's our master taster. He's the one that seems to have the best taste buds.
I have to concede to Cajun on that, but
Mm,
I like the
depends.
little touch of butter, maybe some vanilla
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
in it there.
vanilla's hard for me to pick up. I like it when I catch it.
Yeah.
But usually I can't pick it out.
I'm retaining that spearmint flavor that I tasted at the beginning seems to be retaining in the back of the mouth, even though I've got that sweetness. I don't know that I'm getting that creamy buttery taste as much, but I can see that.
Okay.
To me, it's not terribly strong, but I can see that.
Yeah, I wasn't getting a lot of minty stuff out of
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
I didn't
Makes-
find it.
All right, so
It's
all
not
right.
overly sweet.
Okay, Sensei.
I have no idea what this
I was gonna
is.
say you're gonna reveal
Well,
this
you
to us.
should.
I should.
Yes.
Is this the double oaked?
That is the
It is-
Woodford
is the
Double
double
Oak.
oaked, okay.
Yes.
No kidding.
Which
really?
a buttery toffee
Mhm.
is one of the notes in it
Yes.
that's common
So the-
across
Okay,
a lot
that's
of
a-
people.
You know,
that makes
it's
a-
been quite a while
sense.
since I've actually partaken of the Woodford double oak.
And I think it's
So-
about 86 proof on a double oak.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think
it's,
you're right.
that sounds about right.
So my heavy on the wheat side call was pretty
Mhm,
good.
That was
Yes.
correct also. Y'all were pulling out some
I'm
very
very
proper
impressed.
notes
I'm
on
actually
it.
kind of stunned that Robert didn't pick that up.
Well, like I said,
Like I
it's
been a while.
it has been a
A
while.
lot of
We
different
actually
ones.
passed that up because
And
we
we've
could have had that as one
had
of the options.
crap
Day at the Woodford.
time today.
Yes.
Well, that's correct. I mean, it's kind of like sensory overload because
It
we,
is.
Yes.
It is.
we do it. We don't do it enough over time to be able to retain what was what. We know what we like, and we
Yeah.
can pick up things out of it, but we can't come
So,
close to
so
that.
Cajun, give us some more of the official word on what we're supposed to be tasting with Woodford Double Oak.
Okay.
But toffee, I got to remember that
Yes.
toffee. That's what that
Yeah.
taste is.
That's that butter. That's the
Buttery
buttery.
toffee is
Buttery
the
toffee
way
is what
it's
you're getting. That's right.
described.
Yeah,
The Heath bar.
yeah. That's what we picked up,
It's
and
a Heath
it's
bar.
amazing, actually.
Yes.
And you have to give me a second because really, when this printed out, it's small print.
That
I'm
is small
old.
print. If I were reading that, I'd have to take my glasses off to be able to see it.
I wouldn't see anything then.
You
I
wait.
think
You'll
that
get
led
it.
to my second marriage.
Oh well.
No glasses on.
Mm-hmm.
Bourbon goggles.
Bourbon goggles. Yeah. Exchange the glasses for the bourbon goggles.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Can't
it's
read
interesting
really small print.
because I haven't had that in a while. But when he said that, that made sense to me.
Bottled at 90.4 proof, actually.
90
It's a little
point-
higher
okay.
than 86.
What? Oh, you know what? It's the signature, or signature. I mean the
Original.
the Old Forester, not the signature, but the
Standard
other,
Old Forester is 86.
Yes,
and
I-
the signature's
the 100
100,
is yes.
yeah.
Okay, here we go. Extra oak finishing comes across in the
Yes.
smooth scent of a honey sweet caramel,
Yep.
with undertones of earth and wood.
Yeah.
Like I say, it also has a buttery toffee flavor on the finish side there as it comes into it. And it's extra smooth, of course, with it being double oaked in a fresh new charred oak barrel.
You know that what I was calling a spearmint. I think that is the woodsy.
The woodsy, the
earthy, the
earth
woodsy.
tones.
Yeah,
Earthy.
that I'm getting. I don't know. It's not earthy like the malt that we'd had several times today.
Yeah,
No,
we had
no,
several
not
of
at
those.
all.
But I think that's probably the woodsy part
But
that I
you
was.
get that
experiencing.
from malting
Yeah.
with the peat wood and
Yes.
whatever process they use that gives it that really specific earthiness.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I really enjoyed those malted beers. Malted bourbons today. I don't think I'd ever had any before, and I'm kind of stunned with them. It was that peaty, mossy, earthy taste of it.
Reminiscent of a scotch.
That's
Yeah.
that's kind of what Scotch is supposed
Yeah,
to be.
and it's interesting because when you describe that to somebody, that really does not sound appealing.
No,
You know,
no,
earthy,
right.
mossy,
You
peaty.
try.
That's right. No, you're exactly right. And
smoke.
that's
You know, that's
Yeah.
Irish whiskey and Scotch are centered around that smoke flavor, smoky. You know, so they're supposed to be that very reminiscent of that, campfire type deal.
Yeah, that's what's this, and I'm glad you mentioned that because it's something that we really haven't delved into or talked about. Is that bourbon is not supposed to remind you of food. It's not that type of olfactory experience.
Well, I mean, define food because I mean, when you talk about these,
No, I'm not saying it.
well, I mean, you
It's
talk
not
about
foreign. Yeah,
right, but I mean, when we talk about some of these flavors we get, they're definitely food.
Yeah, some of them are, but many of them are not. And that's why it's a complicated. Thank you, Trevor Slattery. A complicated experience
Right.
that brings in things other than
Right.
just the food flavors. Vanilla, caramel, toffee. Yeah, those are food flavors. But moss, earth, wood,
Leather.
leather.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah,
things
where
we
you have-
shouldn't like, but yet we do when it's
Well,
bourbon.
but those smells are very appealing to
Yes.
us.
That's correct, and that's what's
Smell of
fascinating. about
leather,
this.
smell of
That's right.
Right, and smell and taste
Oak
are
tree.
closely
That's right. And
related.
we are consuming something with smells and tastes that aren't generally consumed.
Yes,
Well,
it's
think
not
about
like
it.
coffee where it smells nothing like it tastes.
When the development of a lot of these old lines went on, you had a lot of horses and mules and so forth with leather being worked and sweated on and in the air, and leather was a very prominent smell to people.
Well, and you're exactly
And
right.
I think it's kind of gotten into our genes too. It's a smell we recognize almost. It's been around for so long.
Because it's so animal.
Gun leather,
Yeah.
gun belts. I
Well,
mean,
that guy that
it's
was
very
doing the
animalistic.
Nice dominatrix.
that too.
that too.
Uh-huh.
That guy that was doing all the leather work with the wallets and the other stuff. That booth smelled wonderful.
Yes. Croom.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah.
And yet that's not a smell that want you to eat. You want
No.
to smell it's something.
But you do enjoy it. Well, it's like
Enjoyable,
it's like
yeah.
a,
You wanna
good
wear it.
pipe.
Yeah,
Smells wonderful, but you would never think about eating it.
right. Which I
Unless
think
they're
is a
digging out a bullet, then you'll definitely chomp down on it.
Yeah, well, yes.
Well, which I think is a fascinating experience. Basically, what we've done, gentlemen, is we've expanded our olfactory senses to make them more pleasing in broader ways. Bourbon does that.
That's true. And there's one thing to note too about the malts. There is a range of flavor to the malts, just like any bourbon. Some
Yes.
had a more scotchy taste and smell to it, and others was a lighter end on the malt
Yes.
feel. To me, is what I noticed.
That's
too, in the
true.
difference
Very
tasting.
right.
I don't know that I can remember any of the lighter malteds that I had, but I think I only had 2 or 3.
Well, I think that
maybe.
first one that we had today that was malted was very smooth and not overpowering at
It was
all.
over in the small craft section.
Yes.
Well, actually, we spent most of the day today in the small craft section,
Right.
which is odd. You would think we would have gone with the stuff that we know, but I guess we're just such Renaissance men.
But that's the thing, to
Yeah.
me, this whole weekend is about trying the stuff that we haven't.
and the new stuff.
That's
right.
why
Yeah.
I didn't do
Yeah.
the double oaked today.
That's right. Yeah, because you deliberately
Yes.
went past that.
Yes.
And
There
you
were
had-
so
had
many
their malted version.
Yeah,
Right.
Yes.
there
yeah.
was-
So many
that was very
items
smooth
I
too.
had that too. Yeah.
that we hadn't had a chance to try that we made
Yeah.
sure to make a point and stop by.
Yeah, because one of those things we never knew if we wanted. We thought we might want to buy a bottle, but we weren't sure we wanted to invest in it.
Sure.
And of course, and I can say for a fact that there was nothing that we had that we would not buy.
Right. There was no Trader Joe's experience today.
Very much so.
One of the interesting things when we talk about bourbon, we talk about smoothness a lot, and one of the things that tasting both the malt and some of the ryes that we did today, smoothness actually applies in two ways. There's the smoothness or lack thereof when you get that bite or that burn when you taste it and it really hits you in the mouth or in the back of the throat or whatever. The stuff that makes you want to cough if it's really bad.
If it gets up in the sinuses,
Yeah.
can make a ugh.
But then there's the smoothness of the flavors, and that's an entirely different kind of smooth.
How well they meld
Yes.
together. Yeah.
And I think the Woodford malted and some of the others we tried were smooth in that sense, and some of the ryes we tried were very smooth because we
I was
associate
very
rye
surprised.
with a more harsh flavor.
Big time punch.
Much to
Yes.
Francis's detriment, calling us rye haters at times. But
Yes. Oh, yes. We haven't been given instructions about that.
yes, but no. In all actuality, we did find a very different, wide level of rye and how much bite it has, and how smooth it can be compared
The
to some of the
distillers
ones
are
we've
really
had.
working hard to make
Yes.
those ryes really smooth and nice.
Yeah, right, and it was the Jephthah Creed that had, I think, the best. That was the one that I think was a 51% rye and a 21% corn.
So that wouldn't have been a bourbon, though.
No,
That would have been just rye whiskey.
rye whiskey.
But,
But
there are-
Ingram,
there's-
Ingram had a good one. Right next to the ones
Yes.
that was
I didn't
aged
tr-
on the barges up and down the river. They had a
Yes.
I
real
didn't-
good smooth
I
rye.
didn't have that one. Yeah, the Hemingway rye was very, very good because that's one of the things that kind of made me come back to you guys and say, stop the hating, boys, because it was very, very different, and it was
no one shall tell me what I can hate.
Yes, of course, that's right. It was, and I was attracted to it because it was Hemingway, and I talked to the folks. The master distiller was there, and I ended up actually getting a bottle signed by the distiller and the two owners, which was
Right, because you were going to wait to pick it up retail,
right, exactly,
probably on sale somewhere.
right.
But that extra bit of money is worth the signature.
Yeah, exactly, and it was, it was very. I mean, it was a more expensive bottle than I would have planned.
Well, it's a keepsake that you can probably never get again.
Well, that's exactly right.
those
Well, we
exact
all kind of
circumstances.
came to the conclusion of saying, now, guys, you made me buy this wonderful bottle.
We made him.
Yeah, you
What's
two.
it
He was
Suggested.
forced.
Yeah,
We suggested, and it did not take much for you to agree to that.
perhaps, but
suggestion.
both of your handprints are on the back of my shoulders, pushing me in. You two, Martin and
And you can
Robert.
hear my laughter in the background.
That's right. Say, no, you got to do this because you never get the opportunity again. And okay, fine, I bit, and that sunk that hook very quickly. But I'm very grateful that I did because, as we said, when I came out, I said, now I can never crack this.
But you can't.
But yeah. But as and I think it was Martin that came up with the idea. He says, when you publish your first book, we will crack it, and that's when we'll have it.
'Cause you still have a keepsake. You still have a signed keepsake.
Right. And,
Well, actually, you could buy another bottle and pour it into it and use that bottle as a decanter, even.
right.
Absolutely.
Signatures,
Very
Right. And that's what I'm talking about for the bottle of Yellowstone that I got at the Fraser when Cajun and I went. I'm saving it for when I finish the novel. Probably get something a little higher end from when it gets published. Maybe break out a bottle of Weller's or something.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm telling you, the Yellowstone was. There were many tents booths that had long lines. Today, more so than before.
Yeah, that was the big difference between yesterday and today. The
length of the
people,
lines.
the people involved were there today.
Yes.
Where,
We
yesterday,
beat the crowd going
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
The lines.
but
Yeah.
today you saw tons of the
The distillers.
had
Yeah.
the master
Yeah.
distillers or the owners or something there with it.
Yeah. At the Limestone Branch, there was a really long line when Martin and I walked up because we were looking for Cajun and Francis. And we found them at the head of the line. They were talking to Mr. Bean.
That's right. Yeah,
Right.
Master Distiller.
And that long line disappeared. I think people just got tired of waiting in line behind them. 'Cause they talked to that guy for, I thought, 15 minutes.
Well, Francis is actually related to him.
He is,
And come to find out, he lived next to a cousin of mine's farm up in Louisville area.
Oh, okay. Yes, I think that guy walked
was
away
part of it.
knowing just about all of Francis's family history.
Well, because it's his too. I mean, we figured it out. Yes,
Yeah, that's the excuse Francis is
Yeah.
using.
that's right.
But
Double related on two sides.
Three.
So-
Was it
Three.
three?
yeah,
Three. I'm sorry,
So
three.
not only was the master distiller of Limestone Branch / Yellowstone there,
Right.
but their
Their ambassador, yeah. Stephen
Bur-
Fonte.
Yeah, Bourbon
And
Scout.
he's a character. If
Yeah.
you
He
ever get
is.
the chance to hear this man talk about anything, take a chair, sit down, and get ready to be amused
Yes.
in a good way.
And
Well, I didn't get a chance
I,
to talk to him much, but I overheard you all's conversation.
Yeah,
with him.
yeah.
We heard him about the cigars when we sat down
That's
on
right, 'cause
stage
they-
too.
yeah,
That was
yes.
him also.
Yes, I went up and talked to, which always amazes me that Martin is so impressed with this, but I just went up to talk to the guy because he had made the comment yesterday on the Bourbon and 30 show that everyone was invited to his house in the Highlands to come over and have a bourbon and talk about cigars with him. So I walked up and I said, "So I understand we're all invited to your place for a bourbon and cigar." And he laughs and says, "Yep," and told him about what we've been doing.
Yep.
And he actually seemed curious about it, which is good. And I asked him if he'd be willing to be on the show sometime. So hopefully one day,
We'll be able
probably
to
within the
arrange
next
that.
year or so, we'll try and get that worked
yes,
out.
yes.
Told me how to get his contact information, and we'll go from there. But he is one of those guys. He's like us. He's willing to sit down and talk about bourbon and cigars at the drop of a hat.
Well,
I was
that's
kind
his
of
job.
disappointed he
That's
didn't
his
have his
job.
cowboy hat yesterday.
Yeah, he didn't quite fit the image that he had when he was up there
Yeah.
Yellowstone talk.
Yeah.
And then we also ran into a young fellow around Bardstown that's got YouTubes and so
Yes,
forth
Alex.
Alex Mitro, yeah.
going. Bardstown Bourbon Boy, wasn't it? Is what he was under?
Bardstown Bourbon Boy.
Bardstown Bourbon Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although didn't find his social media account under that, but I did find it under Alex Mitro or Mitro, Mitro, photography.
Yeah.
So
It's his business. Yeah.
we talked with him probably 20 minutes.
Yeah, every bit
Easily,
of it.
easily 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Great young man.
Yeah,
Really
he spent a
super
semester at
fun.
Bellarmine, so we all had that connection
Yeah, he's
there.
Bethlehem
and-
High
And
School
Bethlehem
graduate.
High School for me and Francis.
yeah, you guys had lots of stuff in common there, and he was just generally fun to talk to.
He's a neat creator. I mean,
Yes.
he's
Oh, yeah.
really
Yeah, yeah,
in
he's-
the
yeah,
creator stuff.
And
had-
what he said, he's been doing this for a living for like the last 4 years or so, or was it longer than that?
I know he's been doing I think he said he'd been doing the
Photography
photography
for
and stuff 15, and it is now his full time. But I don't know that if he said how long it's been full time. I didn't catch that.
Right. Yeah. Well, we talked about a lot of stuff.
We
there.
did.
yeah,
We did,
He's
yeah.
really
creator. He's on YouTube. He's Instagram, the whole bit.
Facebook,
and,
all of them, yeah.
And it was super fun to talk to him. He was really interested in what we were doing, and
Yeah, gave us
Oh,
a
yeah.
tip on some software that we're going to try out.
Yep.
See how that works
Yep.
for us. Help enhance some of the projects we want to start working on. Get some more stuff going.
so yeah,
I will be
super-
fascinated to see if that software can translate my speech.
Yes,
That's
that will
what
be
I'm
interesting.
waiting to see.
transcribe the Cajun.
Yes, I have to see if how Otter AI does with you too. Of course, I have not translated anything with that in a while, but I presume it has gotten better than before. But
We'll
we shall
see if it's fluent in
Give it a shot at
redneck.
Bourbon Fest, and it might do something.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought that was really the standout feature was, actually getting to talk to people is super cool.
Right.
yeah.
Well, it's the same thing as Imaginarium.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we talked about there is that having the opportunity to go around and talk to people, either doing the same thing you're doing, such as with podcasting, but just interested in the same things you are and
Right.
have
Yeah.
a passion for.
Oh, you're going to have to hit the button again. Francis over here waving the bottle.
All right.
All right, we've got a second
Have he-
selection coming
Has
up.
he not had enough bourbon today?
Lord, my Lord, we're about floating away. As
Hey,
much
that
as
old man Nap revived him.
That's true.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, second wind coming around, boys.
All right, number 2 mystery coming up.
Whoa.
Got a dark color to this one.
Mm-hmm.
This is something none of y'all have ever had, unless
Okay.
maybe you've had it at one special location where there's been a lot of bourbons in the past. But I've never heard you mention it, so I'm thinking not, Robert.
It's interesting because the so I take a deep breath through the mouth to go through the nose, and that seemed familiar. Now I can't place it, but I'm really bad about that sort of thing.
Now this bad boy's high proof.
Yeah.
It is
It
higher
is.
than the last one.
It is, yeah.
Oh yes,
Ooh, a little sting there.
yeah. It's got a bit sharp after it goes across your tongue. It's a little
Yeah.
bit sweet
Caramel.
when it first
I
drops
got
there.
some caramel.
It's a mixture, all right.
Yeah. All right, so I've had my baseline, so
Yeah,
I'm going
is-
to add
is it, I don't vanilla,
a
perhaps.
bit of ice.
It's a possibility.
Morton, Emperor.
It's reminiscent to me.
Varnish.
Of what?
It's reminiscent to me of a Booker's almost.
Yeah.
That
would
kind
say
of
that's
that kind of
appropriate.
family.
But it's not.
No,
But yes,
no.
I can see that comparison being made.
Oh.
It's good. It's good though.
Oh, that ice really.
Opened it up, didn't it?
Yes, it
It did. That's how I went ahead. I didn't even bother with the neat. I dropped that ice in first, and very little bit of it, and it just. Whoosh.
It's interesting though. It seems like the sweetness is muted with that, but the rest of the flavor is stronger.
Kentucky Kiss is strong. It stays in
It
the
is.
mouth
It
very
is strong.
well.
Although that hug it's kind of slow to appear.
That's what I said. I didn't.
But
get
it's
any-
there.
I
didn't-
could
didn't get you that.
It's
I
there.
could
Yeah.
sense the warmth
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
It's getting me.
Yeah, it's almost like an angel's envy, where you feel it slowly go down your gullet.
I didn't get that.
It's very.
I didn't get a hug at all.
Maybe that's because you hit it with the ice first.
That's possible.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, I did
Oh,
taste the
I
neat
had
up
ice.
first because I do like that.
Okay, Morton.
I had ice in it, and it grabbed me around the diaphragm pretty hard.
Really?
I think it's woo, woo.
This is a big boy drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Created for
Yeah.
a big man.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm getting maybe a vanilla or caramel. It's very subtle.
Yeah, it's
Any
not
other
overpowering.
fruit note anybody getting
I was
off
just going
of
to
it?
say, but there is a fruit. I can't tell what kind of fruit.
Hold on here.
It's not pear,
No, it's not
No.
pear.
and it's not cherry.
No.
Really.
Well, not like we tasted earlier.
Citrusy.
Yeah, because we had it. There was one that they did in sherry casks.
Yeah.
That I can't remember.
It's
which one it
interesting.
was.
It's
really good.
whatever that fruit and other sweetness is. It's all blended very well. That's interesting.
Well, you wouldn't want to piss off the fellow it was made for.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, go ahead. Come on.
I'm waiting to hear more from Morton over there.
Okay.
It kind of buried all the flavors on me.
Because it was so strong.
Yeah, it was just one of those that just kind of
Yeah, I mean, it was
the
one of
ethanol
those
to
that
it just kind of.
Well,
even
you know,
opening it at a distance.
well, you should blow on
get
it.
that.
You were-
Yeah.
Oh no, I wasn't anywhere near it when I opened it.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you blow on it,
Oh, yeah.
you get rid of that ethanol at the top.
Yeah, no, it was
What about fruit wise? You pick up any fruit notes out of it?
citrusy.
Citrusy. Okay.
I want to say, for some reason, a strawberry comes to mind, but it's not exactly the strawberry taste that I would normally associate.
Most reviews associate it with a cherry like.
Okay.
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 All right.
You were
I could see that.
on
guess
close.
I'm circling the drain
Uh,
on it. Yeah.
This recipe was made and approved as a personal recipe for the Duke.
Yep.
Ah, I was wondering if
Greatest
that's what that
Americans,
was.
John
Yeah.
Wayne.
Really, this is the dude.
This is a high price range of. There's about 2 or 3 different bottles out there you can get associated with John Wayne. This is one of the higher price range that I come across.
Oh, well, thank you for putting it in our flight of bourbons here.
That's right.
This was the 100+ bottle.
So this is expensive stuff. Yeah.
And what was the proof on
I was
this?
gonna ask that too.
Because it tasted like it was well above 100.
It's over 100. I would say. That.
I'd say it's over 110,
Yeah, let me see here.
just based on some of the others that we've tasted.
Yeah, it's got that little initial sting. I'm glad I dropped the ice.
It's an
into it.
intensity.
Now, which distiller is this from?
I should have brought. I couldn't bring the bottle out here. Y'all would have saw it then. So this
That's
makes it a
true.
little more difficult here.
Yeah, I don't recall who makes the John Wayne stuff out of.
It's licensed from his
under
estate. I'm
license.
pretty sure.
Yeah, this is from one of his personal whiskey blend recipes that was provided by his son Ethan.
Okay.
Is where this comes from. So it's very close to what he wanted and what he had made. Though the Duke was very favored with wild turkey. He traveled with cases of it when he went on location to film.
Oh, I
Wow.
didn't
Now
know
that's a professional drinker, my
that's
man.
right.
It is,
Man knew.
and he was very sharing of it too with
Oh, well,
cast and
that's-
co-members.
that's-
and
Oh, that's
so
good.
forth.
That's his reputation. Yeah, he was.
Good bourbon should be shared among
That's right.
friends.
Hints of oak, berry, and nutmeg. It is strong, but it does evaporate on out. Let's see, what else does they have on the review here? Spice and berry notes with a slight cherry finish on the back end.
Okay.
So it's a pretty good mixture.
Mm-hmm.
What was the proof again?
That's what I'm looking to see if it's on here. I may have to get the bottle for that one.
Well, we can keep moving.
It is a higher proof. It's above 100. I do remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would be shocked if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is an intense bourbon in a good way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I knew you had a bottle. I've been wanting to have some of it, so I'm very grateful. To be
Definitely.
Well, me and
ma-
my uncle, we opened it and had a shot out of it when I found it. I couldn't wait.
Right.
Couldn't
Definitely
resist
a
it.
manly
It was
bourbon.
calling to me.
Yes.
Manly
The
bourbon.
Duke is my man crush. I would admit it freely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Francis over here is probably Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah. I'm a big. That's right. I'm Josie Wales.
I knew that was coming.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
All right, Martin, what were you most impressed with over there? Any particular one?
You know, like I said, that one just kind of. Oh, you're talking about over at the festival.
Over at the festival.
Over at the
Yeah, let's
festival.
move back to the festival now that we got the second one there.
Gosh. Oh, okay.
We're still talking bourbons, right? Or other alcoholic beverages.
Any of it. Any of it.
Well, there
Impressive
were
notes
so
from the
many.
Festival,
You know, it was so great.
as long as it came in a bottle.
That's where I was, trying to.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a euphemism.
You know, we spent so much time in the craft. That I thought that was what was so great. Spending that time in the craft area with all the small ones, and then only then moving on to kind of some of the big boys. But we liked the Rabbit Hole.
Yes, that
The
turned out
rabbit
to be
hole-
very.
Yeah, and that was
was,
in the
uh,
large section. It
that
wasn't
was
in
in-
the
Oh, yeah.
craft section.
Yeah.
And we had been talking about Rabbit Hole for what? Ever since we've been doing the freaking bourbon breaks.
Yeah, we have talked about that
They're-
for some time.
they're-
because we're
facilities-
famous for rabbit holes here.
Yeah, on Market
Yes.
Street. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. and-
So yes, Rabbit Hole Distillery. If you're listening, rabbit holes are our specialty.
That is very
so
true.
we'd be happy to be brand ambassadors. But they had done the Derringer, I think it was what they call it, but with labels related to Shakespeare.
yes, they did. Yeah, and
so
it was
we
the
were
Hamlet. that
so
we
all
had.
up in it. Yeah. So Hamlet and Macbeth are the labels. So
I
that
was trying to
tremendous.
quote the Shakespeare to the young lady, beautiful young lady behind the.
She was lost.
She was. Yeah. No, she didn't.
Well, it was interesting.
had
They
to
had
praise
one
her.
of the nicer tents, I thought.
They did very much so.
They had all of those great quotes on the walls in the neon.
Yeah.
And of course, she was from Michigan, so that was great.
Yeah.
But it really was interesting for one other reason. She was working that thing alone. She was having to hop.
Yeah,
She-
she
no
was.
pun intended.
That's why. Very good, very good. That you almost have to push the button on that, but I'll give you a pass.
Yeah.
We'll see what Martin says, but
We've talked about it too long. now.
Agonizer.
yeah.
Nope.
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 We overruled.
Oh, update on the Duke. I just went and grabbed a bottle, and it is 110 proof.
Okay, there you go.
It's bottled by Duke Spirits, Owensboro, Kentucky.
Okay.
Okay.
No kidding. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
And
I did
let's
not
say it was above 125 on the bottle.
I did not see them at the Bourbon Festival.
They may not be producing any longer. Like I
Okay,
say,
yeah.
this I
I
found
think
in
it
a
was
small store.
Limited run stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a very limited run, and I would imagine any profits made from this, some of the profits probably went to the Duke's foundations that they run several
Yeah.
good foundations
Yeah,
for.
he's
Well, and-
very much got a kind of the family has sort of an income producing thing off of his.
Mm-hmm.
And they've
Yeah.
controlled
Legacy.
the Duke's image likeness movies very well that they haven't been tarnished or tainted over the years, I would say.
Right. And, honestly, a lot, people younger than us probably aren't even going to know who John Wayne is.
No, but if we refer to True Grit remake, they may know the character that he played.
Sure, they might
Went
know.
on to lead to his one award in Rooster Cogbone.
Yeah, they might know that, but they won't know him as that most likely.
No, they won't.
which is to their detriment because he was which we did an episode on him. for
Well,
sure.
you know, that's the thing about somebody like John Wayne. For us, he's a masculine icon. But for generations that come after us, you know, I just feel like he's going to come off as a relic and a cringy one at that. For them.
because that's almost a dirty word now. You know,
Well, it's not even just that, but you think about some of the movies that he's done. You know, there's some very questionable male-female interaction. Not like rapey or anything like that, but just things that just don't fly nowadays.
A good spanking here and there.
Right.
Yeah, McClintock was famous. for
McClintock.
that, Yeah.
Yeah. And
Miss O'Hara in it.
Yes.
yes. Yes, the great Maureen O'Hara. Mm.
You know the
Oh, the Quiet
relationship-
Man. That was another
Yeah.
good one.
Yes, that was an excellent one.
the relationship with Lauren Bacall in The Shootist.
Mhm.
Her performance was tremendous,
Oh,
as was his. The Shootist is a terrific
the
film.
entire cast was beyond reproach almost
It
with
was
that
the
movie.
it was the perfect swan song for him, even though it wasn't intended to be that way. They didn't know, but yeah, it's a fantastic movie. It really is.
Yeah. It's just it's the kind of man that in movies that just are not going to appeal today, which is so unfortunate.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
you know,
those-
never mind the fact that westerns, for the most part, are not terribly in vogue. I mean, you will get the occasional western that comes out.
Thank
that
God
is-
for Taylor Sheridan. At
Yeah,
least
that's-
he has
you're
not let
correct.
the art die.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes, he's done a lot
Uh,
of good stuff.
Yellowstone, 1882. The new Bass Reeves coming up, which
know,
I'm
looking forward to that.
They
very,
just
very
released.
much.
They just released the trailer on that. And
Oh,
it
did they? I
was-
haven't
yeah,
seen that yet.
It literally, I was this weekend, so it actually came up on my feed this week. We haven't talked about it yet, but yeah, it's just dropped.
Yes, I have really enjoyed the episodes of Yellowstone and 1883.
And to
that
be
I've
honest, you didn't even
What?
mention 1923 with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren.
Right, we haven't.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That might be the best of them all, to be honest.
Really?
It really, and it's only the first half. They're going to have a second season to finish the story. But wow, it is really it's a very different type of a thing. But it's just it's amazing. It really is.
Well, luckily, me and Robert, when we went to the Yellowstone talk and down there at the Fraser, and we got to hear from one of the writers that's written an episode of Bass Reeves.
Yes, he lives up in
talking
Lagrange.
about it, and lives in Lagrange.
Yes,
I cannot recall his name off the top of my head.
I can't either. 'Cause I'm horrible about names.
We'll have to look that up and come back to it.
Yeah, yeah. That was it. Was interesting the amount of Louisville ties to that, even if it's only kind of a tangent, because the writer and of course the Yellowstone bourbon. But
You know,
yeah, which is unrelated to the show, but is happy to.
right, I
know,
mean, because
take-
Yellowstone is an actual place.
Right,
so,
exactly.
yeah.
So that's and they do have some. They were had some things there in their booth that talked about they are very tied to the Yellowstone National Park.
Right.
In some of their stuff, and that's their flagship brand, the one that doesn't change. Ironically, what I got to taste there was a special edition that they had with the black label that is only available here. So they were telling me it is nothing. That black label it is different every time you get it, depending on what batch it came out of. It's never the same. The proofs change.
it's
Well,
cask,
travels.
cask strength bottle.
That's it. That's
Well,
right.
and Stephen Fonte, you know, he was talking about that,
Yep.
because that's the big trend, which he was very much he was poo-pooing that very much, because it's not the cask strength that necessarily makes those the best. It's you take various proofs and different barrels, and their process for getting this Yellowstone Select that we got through the Fraser was they had 9 different bourbons. And they had 3 different proofs, and I forget how the other 3
I think where it came from in the warehouse was one of the factors.
that might be,
and, I forget what the third was.
but what
They have a range of proof that they'll let that be in.
right, and they went through each one. So of the 110 proofs, they picked the best out of that, and then of the 115 proofs, they picked the best out of that, and the 120. These aren't the actual proofs, but it's close to that. And the 120s, they picked the best, and then they do each one of them against the other, and so you might end up with a 110 that is your best bourbon, but not the 120 coming straight out of the, what we might call the cask strength. So
Which is a blend, which we did learn today when we were sitting through the discussion with the master distillers. on the stage that blend used to be a nasty, dirty term.
Well, that's not necessarily a blend. I'm not saying they like blend those together. I'm just saying that that's how they pick their
Right.
select
yeah.
bourbons.
Well, I'm jumping off that. Into
yeah,
the-
but I mean,
Well-
it sounded like you called it a blend, and
no,
it's
it was
not.
no, that was not. But that's become the trend now.
Bardstown Bourbon Company. That's what they're based on. Is
That's right.
blending different bourbons from Kentucky, Indiana, Georgia, Ohio. Sometimes it's 3 bourbons.
even
blended,
throwing in
sometimes it's
some other
4,
kinds of
sometimes it's
whiskeys,
5.
Yeah.
Right, and
that's
well-
what their whole market is.
Right, and they will work with other types of alcohol. They do that wonderful bourbon barrel ale,
Yep.
Yeah.
and the milk stout that Cajun and I tried today. I'm not big into Guinness and stouts and any of that.
Well, I thought
As
that
people
was-
say, a chewy.
That was Town Branch, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Town Branch.
Was it Town Branch? I thought that
one
was-
Bardstown Bourbon is the one they're mixing. They're even using Canadian stuff, and
And some, yeah.
that's the fusion and discovery and stuff like that they're calling.
Yeah, it was
theirs.
Town
I've
Branch.
sworn that
I remember.
that,
yeah.
that
Town Branch had the stout, yeah.
Okay.
Town
okay.
Branch had the stout, but I don't.
Because I remember you mentioning when we was walking up, you liked the Town Branch also.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah, we've
yes,
had-
yes.
Bourbon barrel ale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that is something that we really need to have a show where we have that on the show to talk about, because that's a unique experience in itself. And this milk stout that we had, again, that's not something I would normally go to, but it was really good.
Yeah.
12% alcohol.
Cajun let me have a sip of it cold, very cold, which, that's not the European way.
Right.
But it was fantastic.
Well, and something like that I think would work best cold.
Coffee stouts and chocolate stouts, stuff like that. They're awesome. They're awesome. And
Don't
get
do a
it
whole lot of that.
cold.
But that one I would consider picking up or having again.
Yes, we could get several different. I mean, there's several smaller craft breweries making these bourbon ales and beers and however you want to phrase to them that we can get a few to compare and contrast to.
I have to take my
Definitely
growler and fill it up at Liquor Barn at their.
There you go.
Their
There you go.
they usually have a stout going.
There you go. Shall we move on to number 3?
Yes, it is. I was just ready to say that.
See, I didn't have to shake it this time. Robert took
Oh,
care
please don't shake it at us, Francis. Please
of it.
don't.
No. Mrs. Francis.
Shake that moneymaker.
That's right. All right.
Now, number 3. There's probably one or two in here that may have had this. It's not a total unknown at all.
All right. I'm blooming it with my ice cubes here.
Excuse me. Much milder,
Definitely. Yeah.
Yep.
smoother.
Yeah, without the ice, I don't know. I don't know that I would drink that one.
I'm not surprised.
Huh.
Because that one, I don't know, that I'm getting very minty, medicinal kind of taste with the ice. So I'm interested to see how this goes.
The ice definitely does improve this one.
Yeah. It's
So good. This is not a Trader Joe's where I'm going to have to throw up afterwards.
No,
right?
No, it's very.
Not to hate on Trader Joe's. Don't get me wrong.
But
It's
that's
just
very
that's the only
reminiscent-
bourbon that I have found that was
that's
not-
our benchmark for the
low.
the ninth
Makers?
circle of the hell.
Not
it's
makers.
it's reminiscent of that.
It's a small craft one.
Yeah.
It's not a big boy.
Creamy.
Yeah.
Kind of a
Very mellow.
Yeah.
I'm not getting.
Kind
to
of
me,
a-
it's not.
kind of a honey butter,
Mm-hmm.
and
I can see that after I've taken a little bit of it here.
That
I dropped the ice cubes in it, and they're small, so they melted immediately.
yeah. I don't know. That initial taste where it's
It caught in your craw, didn't it?
well, it's overpowering. I mean, it's smooth in the sense that it's it's not harsh.
Yeah.
And the flavors that are in it are like that, or like the Woodford, in that they're well blended together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They don't, jump out at you one at a time like some do.
My opinion of this would be a good holiday bourbon, especially if you're making spiced apple cider or something along that.
Yes,
It would blend very well along.
Is it a
flavor would
rye?
go really, really.
Is that
well.
what kind of rye content? Because it's not spicy rye, but it seems like there might be some rye. in
It's a little high rye content. Well, most things do have rye unless they say totally 100% wheated.
Right, but I mean-
even a wheated bourbon usually has some.
Right, but for the most part, if they're low enough, it just doesn't stand out like some of the higher ones do. So
But I'll grab the bottle in a minute.
It seems definitely to be a mixing bourbon.
for me, it would be yes.
It's got some potency to it.
Yeah.
It's got that.
I think the rye is
that ethanol.
I'm tasting the spiciness a little more now.
Yeah. Stays in the back of the mouth. In the back of the mouth.
To me, it's right at the tongue and the top of the. Although I'm getting a little. Although we're having these pretty quickly, one after another, so I don't know if the hug that I'm getting is just leftovers from earlier's, or if it's this one. But I'm
Probably
getting
enough time period in between. We're going about 15 minutes.
yeah, but I'm getting very much in the tongue and in the mouth on this, which
Very
I
much so,
associate with the spiciness of
I
a
mean,
rye.
on
Yeah.
the back of the tongue, especially.
Yes,
That's
yes.
why I'm
Oh, yeah,
getting
you're
into
exactly
it.
right.
Not the tip, but right at the top before it starts going
Top,
down.
back, yeah. it's
Yeah.
Yep. So what do we? Everybody.
Has Martin made his final?
I like that one. It was
Really?
Okay.
I did not find it quite as as you guys did. It had kind of a buttery, chewy, nougat kind of
The
flavor.
toffee, it has a toffee
that
taste
toffee
to
that-
it. What
That's
they
what I'm saying.
refer to as on
It's
a
very
tasting note.
different than the one with the toffee that we
Coffee
already
and
had.
kind of baking spices, like allspice and such. That's what I say. I think it'd make a great spiced apple cider,
It was-
like in
it
the
was-
holidays.
Yeah, I
and
mean, it was
so
almost
forth.
like that chewy winter candy.
See, I'm not
I liked it.
getting hardly anything like that, but again, whatever that was in that initial taste just seems like it's overpowered my palate.
And everybody's different. I mean,
Right.
It just boils down to that.
You took that initial taste neat, am I right?
Right. But even after I had let the water melt and mix in,
Yeah.
because you're right, the ice by now it melts very quickly and it's very easy to do that. But even that, and then the very last one, the very last taste, I'll grant you, was smoother and got a little sweeter, but I'm still getting that.
It
other
definitely needs
taste.
more time to bloom with additional
I think
ice.
so. I would think so.
Well, actually, I believe Francis is the only other person here that has tried this just the other night when you arrived.
Yeah. What is
Lucky Seven?
This is
Did you
Lucky
try
Seven.
that?
Lucky
That's
Seven.
the Lucky
Okay.
Seven you
Okay.
tried.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I'll have to have some because
I don't think I would choose.
It's
this.
the open bottle over there.
Yeah.
I liked it well enough when I had it earlier. You're right. Yeah, it's not bad. It's just it's a bit more barbaric.
But
in
you had
not in a
ice
bad
with
way.
it. You
Yeah,
poured
I
it
did.
over
I
ice,
dropped
right?
it in
So
with
it had
the
time to bloom. And
spherical ice is when I
Right.
had it. So it was.
Yeah, maybe if it had more time to bloom, but I don't know.
There's
well,
a rawness
this was
to this.
recommended by a cute bartender at the Bardstown Bourbon Company when I went out there and had lunch a few weeks back with my uncle. So, of course, I had to
that's-
try it on her
that's
word
worth a
alone.
try,
Her
yes.
looks had nothing to do with it.
Of course not.
uh-huh.
Naturally.
Right.
You're
right.
you're totally impartial in your decision to give this a shot.
Yeah.
So who else did we
I
get?
call bullshit too.
Who else did we get a chance to shake hands with?
Oh goodness. Shook hands with the guy at Rabbit Hole. Who was the guy that?
No, Rabbit Hole didn't have a guy, right? That was just.
Oh, I'm sorry, not Rabbit Hole.
Yeah, it's a young lady.
She was
It
working.
was one of the
by
last ones we
Well,
did.
didn't you go up and talk to the two new up and comers from the talk we listened to? Little
Yes, I
Booker?
did.
No.
Yes. I
And
shook hands with Little Book.
yeah, the guy
His
who
nickname.
well,
Third generation of the nose. Yeah.
right, and the guy who was from 1792.
from Barton,
talked to-
young
from
fellow
Barton.
there.
Right,
Yeah.
because we talked about because I asked him because I had heard from someone that the Trader Joe's bourbon was out of their distillery.
Oh, okay. So
So
you
I-
went investigating.
So I said, "Look, I'm curious. Is this a true rumor?" And he says, "Well, I don't know with the NDAs, whether or not I could say anything if it is or not, but I'm not sure because they don't know everything that's going on, after the bourbon is made and necessarily, and I get that." Especially if you're part of a larger distillery like that, there could be a ton of things. going
Sazerac
on.
owns them. It's huge.
Yeah.
Sazerac has just
But anyways, I told him that it was the only bourbon, as we've talked, it was the only bourbon that nobody I know liked. And he says, "Well, I hope it wasn't us then." I was like, "I don't think it was," but I was like, "Well, I hope not either, because 1792. That's one of our
One of our favorite brands. That's
yeah,
right.
one
Yeah,
of
that's
the
always
oldest
excellent.
brands we've drank, which we enjoy very much. And of course, just anybody I stopped to talk to, I told about the podcast
Yes, that's right.
and what we do with
Warm
it,
a swag. So we were flying the flag,
flying the flag, and
kind of
that
getting
was-
noticed. That's why Alex walked up and wanted to talk to us.
Right.
He
right.
was interested in what we
Yeah,
were doing.
we should have all if we
He thought we were media, which
Yeah.
was awesome.
Oh yeah,
if
yeah.
we had all worn the flag today, or at least the three of us that have it, that may have had us brought in some more of that. I never even
Might have,
considered-
yeah.
Well, me and Emperor could have been flying our freak flags.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could.
That
Would
might
have got
have
attention.
that might have drawn interest we don't want, but
Now Cajun did have his kilt. It was
That's
awesome.
right.
He
Yes,
did
I
have
did.
his
Lots
Lots
of
of
kilt today.
lots of kilts out there today. That was
Yeah,
not, you
there
weren't the
were.
only one.
No,
Yeah, I don't think
I
there
was
was
not
many-
the Lone Ranger in the kilt today.
no, I don't think there was many today though as there were yesterday. At least I didn't see as
There
many.
was several yesterday. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
even a bagpipe player out there yesterday.
Yes, I thought I heard it today, too.
Yeah,
I didn't
somebody
hear it
was on
today,
the pipes
but-
today.
We should note too, for those of you that says, "Well, I don't want to taste bourbon," yada yada yada. There are other things there too. There are bourbon-related crafts there, wood products, leather. An awesome beard booth was there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
magnificent beard
Yes,
combs,
yes.
wooden carved beard combs. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you guys got some nice compliments, not just from him. There's some other booth that complimented you guys, wasn't it?
On the facial hair?
Well, the chicken cock guy who had a Bellarmine.
Yes,
connection.
him, yes.
Yes, he mentioned the glorious Martin stash.
Right, right.
But yeah, and he was a Bellarmine guy, and he said that chicken cock was kind of the
The-
unofficial bourbon of the Bellarmine basketball team.
Right, because obviously they can't have an official
For
official
those that are of age.
of age. Yes.
That's right. But you, I mean, Martin, you've got to tell about the story at the end with the lady that grabbed your mustache.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
Never happened.
Move on.
Never happened.
Never happened.
Well,
But there was also food related too,
it- it
barbecue
was
and stuff.
admired. Yes, it was admired.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Barbecue season. Oh, and we picked up a wonderful, wonderful maple bourbon infused syrup. Also
That's
a
right.
cinnamon one too. This stuff is like the nectar of the gods.
Oh yeah, they gave us some of that, and
we
you'd
had.
think, why would you want to taste some syrup? No, this stuff was delicious.
Well, you know that Knob Creek maple bourbon
I've always liked that. Yes.
is awesome. Whenever I have some of that, all I can think of is, my gosh, I want some pancakes.
Hey, I can make a syrup out of that.
I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
You are a very
This was-
creative gentleman.
I mean, and the guy, it was a small booth in the back in the related area, and he kind of he wasn't predatory, but he kind of jumped and said, you really need to try this, and I'm thinking, okay, you sure fine, and I take one little taste of it, and I was like, holy crap, he's right.
It was good.
Good, he nailed it right off the bat, and Cajun ended up.
I'll try to stick my tongue down to get to the very bit out of the bottom of the
And then he
sample.
gave us some of the cinnamon, which was even better. in many
No. I'll say the bourbon's better than cinnamon.
Okay, well, I mean,
Yeah.
both of them were excellent, though. And, Cajun buys 3 bottles. Boom, like that. So next time we're out here, you definitely got to try some.
yeah, because like I
I'm
said,
making
that
flapjacks, it sounds like.
That sounds like
Well, I
fun.
tell you
Anybody
what,
doesn't know, I do a little cooking on the side.
little.
smoking.
A little. That's
Um,
correct, yeah.
And I'm actually been feeding these guys very well
Yeah.
over the week.
oh my god, I think I've gained
And,
10 pounds.
We've got some
He is
pulled
our-
pork, smoked butts coming up here for dinner, and,
And your
corn on the
famous
cob
baked
on the
beans.
smoker, and my baked beans. That's about half meat, sausage, country
Oh.
ham, and
You lo-
bacon in
you love
there.
those baked beans. That's
We
right.
got some
He is our
Right.
resident Martha Stewart.
burnt pork ends on there,
do love
pork
those.
belly ends,
Yeah, taters and everything
and
like that too, right?
baked potatoes coming up with
yeah.
it. So yeah, we're going to be eating good by the time we finish this. Everything will be ready for
Yes,
consumption.
we
and
had,
I make my own sauces too.
which you do a good job
Yes,
of that
which you do
too.
an excellent job.
Yeah, we had to wait until after we recorded the episode to eat, because after all of the bourbon, and as tired as we were, because we did a lot of walking.
Oh, yeah.
that is a lot of walking.
What do we do? Get 7,000 steps, you guys? Is that what you? What
Yesterday
you
or so,
measure?
somewhere around there. I don't know what today.
This only shows 4,000 today, but I did sit more than I did yesterday.
Yeah, we weren't quite on the move
breaks
as much.
were
I didn't sit at
We're
all. I
liberal.
mean, I was moving today.
Well, no, because we took down, we sat and we watched the master distillers come up, and
Yeah.
we stepped sit out a few times.
Yeah.
So
So that was a neat feature. Is for half an hour music.
yeah,
So they had a small band play, and then like a quote talk show, the Bourbon 30.
It's a podcast, yeah, the Bourbon
podcast.
30.
So they were recording that, and they were going to broadcast. And that's when we saw. I guess it's Fred No.
Fred
yeah,
Doe.
Fred B. No, he's the master distiller now, son of the original Booker know. I knew Fred years and years and years ago.
Grandson of
Yeah, well, his son. His son, and I don't remember what his son's name. They said it. It wasn't Fred or anything, but he's
No, I just remember Little Booker.
Little Book.
Little Book.
Little Book.
Because his grandfather, the famous Booker No,
Yeah.
the original guy,
yeah.
he called his grandson Little Book.
Yeah.
And they actually, because he was talking about how they named this experimental bourbon that he was playing around with. He says because he's taking a chance because it's a major corporation. And, you're going to waste barrels on.
Well,
this.
he said it wasn't that big of a chance.
Wasn't that big of a chance. That's right. And they ended up using 7 versions of it so far.
Yeah. Anything new is still a gamble when you're talking about
Right.
It is, but
Well, that's the great thing about the craft.
that's what they
distillers.
called it, the Little
You know,
Book. And
They
it was-
can do the small runs and take a chance.
Yes.
And what was fascinating about this, and I don't know, we didn't talk about this. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but when we went by the Beam booth at the very end, because that's one of the places Martin wanted to go,
Right.
they had a list kind of off to the back of what they were selling.
Yes.
Little Book was struck out; it was gone. They sold it all.
Sold
Yes.
it all.
So
Now they had
Right
another
after
one
that,
there.
yeah.
It was a Baker's
Baker's 13.
13.
Yeah,
He
Baker's is
mentioned it-
another
he
big one.
mentioned it during the
And
show.
They had on the wall of the back of the
Yeah.
Beam booth what the various bourbons they had, what kind of flavors you should get,
Yeah.
and that one sounded awesome.
Yeah.
That was right up
You
my
got
flavor
some Bakers
profile.
here. Am I right, Cajun? That's right.
I do have a bottle of one of the Bakers. I'm not sure which one it is off the top of my head.
Right.
But it's uncracked, and we're going to leave it uncracked for the weekend. But it will be on our list at some point here to make sure
So,
that happens.
I got a bottle of Bakers and Legacy when I was down doing the Jim Beam tour.
Yeah, and one of the ones I was interested in is the Hardin's Creek version. And did you indicate there was 3 creeks?
There are 3 creeks. I just saw something pop up on one of my feeds this morning that the last and third one has just been released, I
Yep.
think.
Yep. They
But
had that
yeah,
on
there
the
was
wall
3
too.
different rickhouse locations, all near a specific creek, and they've released this line from each one, showing the difference in temperature, climate, and location can have on a specific boat.
Even though
Right,
they're
and
all,
what chemicals have been dumped into that particular waterway
Well,
and all those sorts of things. Yeah.
and they're all close by here. I mean, Knob Creek is the one that we know the most. It's been around the longest.
See, it's funny because as you guys are talking about this, all I can think is, granted, I grew up in Michigan, so that's my speaking style. Although I speak much more slowly than I did at one time. I still have not picked up y'all and never will.
So
But-
it says.
As I say, I
As he
suspect
just said.
I might
After
call
nearly-
bullshit on that. I suspect he's probably said it a lot more than he realizes.
Uh-huh.
Nope.
But continue.
Nope. I
Continue.
only ever as an ironic usage. It has never been part of my actual conversation. But anyways, we call them, because my family's from Eastern Kentucky. We call those cricks, not creeks.
That is true, but
Yeah.
regardless of what's been dumped in them, that's what the limestone is for. It filters out impurities.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but yeah, there's been known to be called cricks up here, and they're not hollows; they're hollers.
Hollers, yes.
Right, absolutely.
So, the part of the Bourbon 30 show, we watched a couple of them yesterday and today. That was so incredible for me. Was
You were dying to have some of that.
the desk? No.
Oh, the desk.
Oh, the desk.
Yes, the
But-
desk.
Sponsored desk.
Yeah. Now, Fred No, the third Little Book, whatever, had brought a country ham,
Yes.
and the host was slicing country ham, and I was dying we didn't get any country ham.
Until we got back here to Cajun.
Yeah,
So, but he put it.
Yeah.
He put it
Thank
out.
God he had some. Yes.
Yeah, he put it out over at the Beam booth, but the desk. So this is a hard visual. It's, this is not a visual medium, but if you can imagine one of these kind of old school desks with the chrome legs, the
Black bottom.
black metal, like sheet metal sides,
Oh, yeah.
and then the fake wood laminate top.
Right. And depending on the size, we did not get up close enough to see, but depending on the size, there could be a black rectangle inlay. Because I had two.
Yes.
The larger one had the black rectangle inlay.
So I cannot tell you, listeners, how many times I helped move an identical desk
Yes.
out of either Robert or Francis's home.
Right, because after I had those desks, you ended up with at least one of them. I think
I
you
had
ended up with
two.
I
you
had
both
one.
of them.
I
had
You had one? Okay.
Yeah, you took one, and I kept I do have one. Indiana has it upstairs in his bedroom.
Oh, is that the larger
smaller
one?
one, the
The
smaller
smaller
one,
one.
yeah.
Smaller one.
Well, you know, on that note, I have Francis's father's desk upstairs right here at the house.
The
still.
big wooden one with
the big wooden one is downstairs. Yes.
right, the one that has the typewriter pull out.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, it's World War II. It's when it was used for.
that's a classic.
It really is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still have that upstairs right now here.
I did
See,
not
now-
realize that. Yeah, I knew. Now that you mentioned it, yeah, we did because you were the only.
Now you know what?
Back in the corner.
Yeah.
If I were Francis,
Yes.
I would seriously consider. I don't know where you would put it,
Yeah.
but that's the kind of thing I would sand down, refinish, and put someplace to do my writing. Now it's not the kind of desk where you're going to have.
So you're
stuff come off to
saying
the
I've
side.
got to sand it down and finish it for him, and then he can come
Ah,
pick it up?
well,
Oh,
that-
no, I have to deliver
You'll
it.
have-
You would
you're
have
the
to
only
deliver.
one with the truck.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you'll have
that's
to
true,
take
but
it to
Yeah.
the damn thing is so big.
It is, and
It's
that's-
as big as the back end of a truck. It's a
Yeah,
big.
that thing's heavy.
It is huge.
I mean, that's a
it-
full
it's a
6
full
feet wide at
and
least.
it's, and,
How the
I
hell
think
did you get it upstairs?
I took the legs off.
yeah, the legs do come off. The
well, you had to saw them off to get them in.
no, that was another one that
was a
I had
different one
bought.
that we did over
I
at his
did get rid of.
father-in-law's
That's
one
right.
day. I helped
But it
him
was
with.
the same style. You're right.
Okay, I thought it was the same
No,
desk.
it's
I
not the
tell
same
you what,
desk.
no.
No, this.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, you'll
It's the
never
same
use that
style.
that
Yeah.
typewriter pullout thing again. But if you could get that dude rescued and
Actually, I think I took the top off of this one to get it up.
That's right. It's the top that comes off. That's right, and that's the only way you can get them around because it's too dang on heavy. And that's how that worked on it. But no, I
Because
got
it's not like plywood that thing is built of. That's
oh,
like
no.
real
it's
wood.
walnut. It's
Yeah.
walnut.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's heavy.
yeah, and
it's-
that
it's-
it feels like that's about 2 inches thick. Whether it's
Well, parts of it is. Parts
Yeah.
of it are. That's correct. At least certainly it's the top of it is.
yeah, well, it feels like all of it's about 2 inches
Yeah,
thick.
that's right.
You
Because
need-
we've moved it.
you guys need to try to rescue that thing.
I mean, that's a
what you
It's not
classic.
going
with it.
anywhere.
Yeah.
It
Right.
ain't taking up any
To be
important
honest,
room.
it's
I
so
need.
big you'd have to have a room built around it almost.
Well, when the residuals start coming in from the books,
Well, okay, maybe so.
You could hire somebody to take it from here to Fern Creek.
I'm sure. Yes.
I mean, Cajun will do it for a good bottle of bourbon, right?
Pretty much.
yeah, that's absolutely.
What would I do for a bottle of bourbon?
And
Not
the
quite
thing
Klondike
is,
like, but
No, but
Close.
He's
If-
done a lot more for a lot less.
that is true. And
that's hard to argue with.
if it's not in too horrible shape, don't refinish it. Keep the patina. Try
Yeah.
to seal it so it doesn't get any worse or any
Right.
any other damage or anything, and doesn't absorb any moisture.
actually, it's in relatively good shape.
yeah.
I mean,
But
'cause
if you could seal it with what do they call it?
A clear coat, like.
Clear coat. Yeah,
Polyurethane. or something.
polyurethane. Yeah. Of course, that polyurethane when it dries is like as hard as a rock,
Yeah,
and it'll definitely keep any moisture from getting in it.
you have to get a good quality of that because otherwise it will color the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or turn yellowish.
yes. I put some on a desk that I kind of rebuilt, reassembled, and painted white, and then I put the clear coat over it, intending for it to be white, but it turned yellow, yellowish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Oh,
Number four.
Number four, fourth
Okay.
and final here.
Winner, chicken dinner.
all right.
Now,
we can
as
get
far
through
as
this
I
without
know,
passing out, I'm in.
Nobody has tried this one either.
Oh,
I'm
good.
out of ice.
I
Other
like
than
new
me.
stuff. Well, it's probably cold enough you can just pour the water in.
Yeah, we'll just put a little shot of water in there.
This is a different one.
Oh, yes, it is. Very much so.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a taste that
Tickling the back of my nose from the breathing it in.
I've got it on the top of the mouth, top of the tongue. It's moderately
This
high
is-
proof, not huge, but
It's a high rye.
It is a rye.
okay,
It's
yeah,
a
that's,
higher rye.
that's
Yep.
the spice I'm getting. That's right.
Yeah.
That's the
High
pepper.
rye.
It's not
There's
aged.
something else different though about it.
Not aged very long.
It's lighter. That's right. Rye usually has a harshness to
This
it.
almost has an earthy. Is this malted as well?
Not quite.
Okay.
It's
A little flat.
yeah. It
Just kind of.
It is, but it doesn't have that high pepper spice you usually get with a rye.
I don't know. It's there.
It's there, but it's not overpowering like some of the ones we've had. Is
It
what
hits
I'm saying.
late. It hits late.
It hits late. You're exactly right because I'm now feeling it. It's the pepper comes back after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the
on
end,
on the
yeah,
front of the
definitely.
tongue, top of the tongue. Ow! Wow! Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
That's the gift that keeps on giving.
It is. It is. It's
That
a toasted rye.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
It's
and
a
that's
toasted
and I
rye.
had several of those today, and I was very impressed with them. It's completely different than the regular rye.
It does.
Mhm.
That's what's I don't know. It's just kind of I like it. I like
Yeah.
that better as a rye.
I have a very visceral reaction to it. It just does not.
I mean,
Oh, factory, it's not appealing.
No, not at
yeah.
all.
I mean, it's kind of there's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing that grabs me with it
yeah.
either.
It
It's just kind of that's just sort of flat and not medicinal, but just
there's no. It
I was
doesn't
gonna say, 'cause
have a real life.
That's Martin's
to it,
curse word.
does it?
yes.
That's the one thing that
I mean,
That is,
But
yeah.
you're all right. I think it's only aged 3 or 4 years at best.
It,
I
yeah,
can see
Short
that.
age, like you
It
did
just-
hit that on the nail, Martin.
feels immature and flat, kind of
Yeah.
like
It just
like I've been drinking a little Old Fitzgerald. Nothing wrong with it, but it's a $12 bottle, and it's just not complex.
Mm.
There's just nothing.
Well,
There's no
unfortunately,
stacked
this is about a
flavors.
$70 bottle.
Really? See, I don't think I
This
would
is-
drink this.
No.
This is just kind of This
I didn't buy this one, actually. It was given to me.
This
Okay.
is a cipher to me. Yeah.
My uncle gave me this. His family member gave it to him.
so it's been regifted. a few
Re-gifted a
times?
couple of
Well,
times.
no, it was
Agent.
given brand new to him.
Oh, okay.
It was not open at that time.
Okay. So this isn't like a fruit cake for your family.
No.
that keeps
No.
giving-
Bourbon doesn't stick around, whether it be rye or malt or straight or whatever, very long with me and my uncle around. This is the Buzzard's Roost.
I've been wanting to try that for a long
Okay.
Okay.
time.
Okay.
I've been
This
wanting.
is-
And that was a
That's
booth
right.
I did not stop at.
I wanted to. I wanted to several times.
And I directed Francis away from it.
It was next to Chicken Cock and,
It was, and,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
and
was-
it was.
Hemingway, and
Just
it
to
was
the
in
left
that
of Chicken
row. It
Cock.
was in
Yeah.
that row, yeah.
right.
And,
Yeah, it
I
was
did
right up
not
that
try
way.
it.
Yeah, because there is a Buzzard's Roost out here. It's just off the other side of the river.
Yeah. I'm
in
getting
Brevard County.
that dry taste in my mouth, like after you have a red wine.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yes.
So yeah, not a fan. Not a fan.
So yeah, that one is a little
And I
flat,
put it
a little
at the
woods.
end of the tasting.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
We propagate this fact that rye goes at the end of a
yes.
flight tasting.
And
And
almost
even several people at the festival agreed with me on that.
yes, I talked to several about that too.
Yeah.
And yet every time I've been to a taste, which granted is not many, the rye has almost always come second, maybe third, but
and
never.
one did tell me that's probably going by the proof
Mm-hmm.
from
Could be,
low
yeah.
to high when
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
happens.
Well, and that makes sense too.
Well, that's true because when we were down at the Fraser and we did that tasting, it was the OFO 1920 Prohibition style that we ended with.
Yes.
And that's the 120 proof.
Yeah,
Which
so
is,
a lot of places want to go from low to high proof for some reason, but I still stick and die by the rye comes on the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, all the distilleries that were there, all the vendors that were there, and all these tastings and all that were so cool.
Oh, it was.
But the people
Oh, it was great.
turned out to be
Yeah.
really the coolest part. Again,
Oh, yeah.
we saw, master distillers from so many places were
Mhm.
there today, and just so many other friendly, awesome people.
Right.
Yeah.
Your Michigan buddy
Yes.
with the Verlander jersey on. You
Yes.
talked to him for a couple of minutes about stuff.
yeah,
that was
there's
awesome.
an African American gentleman that was there with, I presume, with his wife, and Martin had seen him across the crowds and pointed
Yeah.
him out, and so he was standing behind us, and we were standing in line at the was it Rabbit Hole?
There's
wasn't
that
it?
rabbit
Oh,
hole.
yeah.
He
That was
a long
was right
time,
there
yeah.
when.
Yeah.
Just coincidentally, after we had seen him somewhere else, and it's like we were
Mhm.
kind of run into him there.
Yes, and I said I had wanted to go up and talk to him.
I'm so glad you got to.
And yeah, that was great that he had that because I love my Tigers. Yeah, and I was representing today. Wore my
Yes,
Well, yeah,
he
he,
was.
he,
Yeah.
once
Polo
he
with
saw that, he jumped right all over that.
And the young lady from Rabbit Hole was
Yeah, she was
originally
also
from
from
Michigan,
Michigan.
so she saw your shirt and liked it. Yeah, it was-
But on the flip side of that, even with me and Francis being locals here, we only saw two people we actually knew there.
know, exactly.
Everybody
I was
else
kind of-
from out of the area.
yes, I mean,
I was
Alex,
really weirded out about that because usually when there's anything here in Bardstown, we always run into people we know. It's not that
Right.
big a town. There's only like 35,000, and when you talk about the
Really, it's that big?
yeah, it's about right. Yeah.
I did not realize it was
Might be
that
closer
big.
to 40 now, but the 35 was the number it had for a long time. And it was one of those things. Lots of people, and like I said, we only saw 2 people, and then one of them was performing actually.
Yes, one
Right.
was a local singer, Brian Williamson.
Brian Williamson, good,
Very good.
That's right. I went to school with his nephew long back in the day, but known Brian for many, many years. You have too. I didn't get a chance to talk to him because he was performing.
I thought you ran into more than 2 because I thought you pointed out more than a few that.
Nope. Just him and
Jimbo Brady.
Jimbo
Jim
Brady,
Brady.
that's right.
Jim Brady Photography. You can find him on Facebook. Very good photographer in the local
Yes, he
area.
married Linda Gohagen, a girl I went to school with. So I've known.
I'll give him a shot. I ran around a lot with him and probably had a little hots for his older sister at one time, which was actually my age.
I was going to
Jim's
say
actually a
you
couple years
like
younger
those
than
older
me.
women, anyways.
Yeah.
I do, but we were the same age, same
Okay.
class.
Jimbo's-
Jim was actually a couple years younger.
Jimbo's a little younger.
I
That's
hear
right.
they
Yeah,
make beautiful
known the family for
lovers.
years.
Oh, they do, baby. They do.
And Alex was local. Alex Mitro again. we
He was
mentioned.
local,
Yes.
yes.
And-
That's a graduate. Yeah.
Alex,
Yeah.
find us on snakesandotters.com. We mentioned
right.
that to him, and but he's a terrific creator. But he was Bethlehem. He was local, and he mentioned that he'd been talking to people in Australia,
Right, Australia was
somebody
the.
from Australia.
and,
there,
and
yes.
a lot of people from up north. And of course, we made the joke. Well, of course, nobody from the south is here. They're all at football games.
Well, that's. But
But it does sadden me some that there's not enough tickets to go around because I do hear some grumbling in the local area that tickets always sell out so fast that the locals can't get to them.
It is.
Well, I'm
limited.
local. I got them because I was ready for when they went on sale. So
Yeah.
I don't buy that excuse entirely. Plan ahead, people.
Well,
but on
Yeah,
the flip
that's true.
side, they're not selling enough tickets to fulfill everybody wants to come either. So
Well,
Yeah.
what's the solution?
Even interesting because we talked about. I think it was Martin and I were talking about it. It did not seem as crowded today, or more crowded today than it was yesterday, as people were walking around. Now, when we first got there, it was as crowded as it was at its height yesterday, and it stayed pretty steady all day. But then I realized there were a lot more people. All of the extra people were in line
That's exactly it. I was glad you mentioned that because
because the tasting lines
long
were
today.
long. We just walked up and grabbed bourbon
right,
yesterday.
and
most part.
some of that was depending on how talkative the folks were in the booth.
And bottles being
Yes.
signed.
And bottom being
That's
signed.
it.
And how long the people were badgering them with their family stories as well.
Who does that mean?
And to be fair, the lines
It's-
were.
I
a
love you,
lot
Francis.
As Monty
longer
Python would say, "Peace off."
At the
I
bigger
love you,
distilleries.
Francis. You know that.
The more popular distilleries, the bigger distilleries tended to have the longest lines. That
Well, yeah, they're
craft-
better known.
That craft section, where you had the largest diversity of distillers and
Well, even there
There were still some.
There were lines.
Again,
yeah.
with the master distillers there for so many.
yeah.
It was amazing to see.
That was some of it, but
And
I'm
people
often
will-
wondering and I don't know if you guys experience this or not, because some of these master distiller or no would have long lines in the craft area, and others not at all.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's one of those things that maybe they just talked a lot and had more of a pitch, or if the crowds themselves were kind of selecting. Oh, I want this one. I
Well,
want that.
I
one.
think it depends.
It's
on-
probably just the normal
yeah,
ebb and
ebb
flow.
and flow.
I bet
I'm not
it-
trying to put something into that, but I'm asking the question.
No, I think it's that.
Yeah.
I think it's the normal ebb and flow. Some will generate more traffic than others.
Well, yeah, and I know that Yellowstone was always huge, but like you say, when we went through there, the master distiller was there, plus the brand ambassador.
Yeah.
So, and it was a small booth. It was not huge. I mean, they were
Yeah.
in the craft section.
Yeah.
They were not in the major section outside there, which, these
Right.
guys here, they had room-sized, their own these are not standardized
Yeah,
tins.
Buffalo Trace, Forester, the big dogs.
Well, and
Yeah,
in
they
some-
had
feed,
large
they had
areas.
2 and 3.
well, they even had like
room size.
Preservation Distillery had 2 of their own, and that's
Yeah.
not a huge distillery locally.
Yeah.
No, very small
Right.
craft.
Right, and they had 2 in separate
That's
locations.
right. Yeah, exactly. Which is in
Yeah.
the major section, not in the
Yes.
craft section. So, some of these folks really did put out some serious bucks.
That tells me they're probably putting a lot of sponsorship into the festival.
Well, it's
Yeah.
got to be
Yes.
that because in the craft section, everybody has the same size booth, and it's small little tent. It's almost like a little church.
Unless they bought 2
Yeah,
booths,
there were a
because
few
there were
that
some
that
that
did
did
that,
that.
but
Yeah,
as a
the
general rule,
doubles.
they're mostly you've got a little sign outside you, and you've got your little space, and that's it. So, and the lines could
The signage could be better because there were a couple of times I had trouble figuring out what was where.
That's true, but when you go, like I said, when you go out into the larger section, you have whole rooms and
Yeah, their logos were all over.
elaborate displays. You know, you've got these their own buildings that they've propped up.
Yeah,
for
big
that.
places for people to congregate, kind of stand there,
Yeah, and sometimes they'll have places to stand with. Sometimes places to sit.
and giving away cocktails. You know, kind of standing there and doing stuff.
I'm glad you mentioned that too, because the cocktails, we didn't do that yesterday, but we certainly did today, and that was one of the best little things.
So, what was the one that was made out of Basil Hayden
Oh, it's the
that we had at the end? That was from the Beam.
that was in the beam. That was in the beam section.
Right, that was the one that the mixed drink that actually tasted like it had a little bit of
That's
alcohol.
right. And the items that were in there, there are two other items, and I'm going by memory here. None of those were anything familiar to me. It was like a .75 this and a .13 that. I remember the numbers, but not the names.
Right.
But
Right.
That's it was like.
So much for that recipe.
Well, exactly. It was like, how did you do this?
Well, I'm pretty sure those are not secret.
No.
No, we'll
Well,
probably find them out.
There
there
were some.
somewhere.
I mean, the one that Jeff the Creed, they said, "Well, no. Well, here's the. In fact, it's in my back pocket. Here's how you make it, and you do that."
Now that one was pretty complex. There are a bunch of
That's
ingredients
right.
in that. That's not one that you can just easily
Whereas the
replicate.
Well,
other
they
one,
wasn't giving out the peach one we tried either over there.
No, that's true. Yeah, and that was a good
and
one.
there was a couple one of them that they said, well, we won't tell you. We'll tell you what's in it, but we're not going to actually give you the recipe, which is fine. And one of them, that one had.
Which to me is silly.
Well, I mean,
Because unless you're bottling that and selling it itself,
yeah, I mean.
publish that.
Well,
That
there's
makes
like,
you-
because I remember it's the one that had pineapple in it, and which I liked it. There's like 5 different items in it, and I'm thinking, I can take a picture of that.
That was the Basil Hayden one with pineapple, wasn't it?
No, it
No,
was
that was
not.
something else.
There was
This
another
This was
one.
in the
Pineapple
craft
one,
section. This
pineapple
was
one, I-
over near the blue.
No, actually, I think the pineapple was the pineapple and peach, wasn't it?
It was. It was
Yes.
in there. That was. I cannot remember.
And something else.
Right, and it was next to the Blue Note Blue Note booth.
Red Line. Red
Thank
Line
you,
was on
Red
one
Line, that's
side.
exactly
We tried
it.
that. Yes, Red Line.
They had a
We got
very
some swag from there.
Yeah, very good stuff. I really that was one of those that we got into it after Fred Noe and those and all those folks were talking. You said, I want to go see that, and the line was long.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's where
yeah.
we said, okay, I'll go with you, and we went. We
Well,
waited a while.
speaking of going long, we probably ought to be wrapping this rodeo up on the Bourbon
Oh, I thought he was
Festival
going to make
here.
a sexual reference there for
Well,
a
I
minute.
could if you really want me to, but
Let's
okay,
pass.
we'll pass that. But if you got any last comment or a strong impression from the festival today, I thought it went very well myself, and I was very impressed with Ingram. They are aging their barrels on barges running up and down Ohio, Mississippi, and so forth. And I found it very well blended. We tried that over there.
Yes.
Actually, he was saying that there's legal reasons. There's a very limited space that they can actually take it up and down.
Yeah,
like
Western
50
Kentucky
miles.
and some parts of the Mississippi, they were saying.
Yeah, there's like a
Like a-
50-mile length
like
of
a
the
Floating
road.
it back and forth, and they're getting that motion like we were talking about Jefferson's.
Motion of the
Right.
But it's local here in the area.
Right. We talked to him specifically about this, if that's what they were going for. He didn't seem exactly dismissive of Jefferson's, but because they weren't going for the motion so much as the environment.
Right,
It's all
and that's
there.
going back to the flatboats.
Yeah.
Yes.
When they moved up and down the river more so than the
Yep.
ocean, it's a whole lot more movement a lot of times out
Right.
there.
Yeah, they were going for the
So-
the different humidity and various things that
I'm going to say
you know,
Ingram was the
environments-
new one that impressed me the most. There.
That
I
was good
enjoyed
stuff.
a lot of them. There were very few I would not go back and try again, but
Yeah.
Ingram really stood out at me. Small craft distillery.
I was
H.O. Ingram, yeah, that was
Yeah.
good stuff. And
What about you, Martin? Any big impressions?
that one in particular? You're right. That was very high quality stuff. The H.O. Ingram, and like you said, that guy was talked to us at length about. Well, it's like tax stuff that we can't
Yeah,
really.
and
cross
that
the
makes
state
sense
lines,
because-
even
Right.
though we're on the
Right.
river, and I just congratulations Bardstown. I hope
Oh, yeah.
town made a crap ton of money.
Well,
out of that.
I was in driving last night around, and the hotels are full. I was
Oh,
driving-
definitely.
good.
You
Oh,
can
yeah,
find
they're
a
all-
room to rent.
and so
I
are
could have left y'all fellas up in Louisville and Indiana and probably made myself several grand this weekend renting out rooms.
probably could have.
and there's lots of campers and RVs.
Yeah, I'm worried we're going to get a bill as we try and check out of this place.
Well, whatever it is, pay it because it is worth
Yeah,
it.
it was worth it.
Right, we'll put it on your card.
That's right, absolutely. Oh, I was impressed with so many things. Hemingway's the one that turned out. That's the one I bought my hat at. And part of that was just me and a
You and the Hemingway.
Hemingway.
You put Hemingway on a pile of crap, and you would
that's
buy
probably
it.
so. I was.
Well, he's got to think for Hemingway like I do the Duke. What can I say? I got to let him
right.
have that. one.
Sure.
Mine is recent. Mine is only since I started writing that Hemingway is like the guy. He's the one that taught us how to write. And
So, should we have a fight at the end of this this bourbon episode? Because
I'll put the Duke up against Hemingway any day.
no. Because Marcus has a very particular opinion about Papa.
Can't stand Hemingway, but
no,
as a writer,
I think you
sorry.
said he was a crap writer.
Oh, I had,
Was the-
yeah. They're
A hack?
A hack would be
Not just
would be
crap,
very-
yeah.
yeah, but that's just my personal opinion.
And
my
yes,
wife-
we'll leave it at that.
And my
Francis does
wife's.
not need to respond
No,
to
no.
that.
grumble,
Yeah, the steam is
grumble,
about to come out of his
Yes.
ears.
He's just
there.
quieted down. The Emperor, what's your impression of the festival? Enjoying it? Because you do not imbibe.
I do not drink, but it was a lovely weekend. It was good weather.
Oh yeah, it was perfect.
I was surprised the crowd was an older crowd.
Yeah, we talked about that at
Very
one point. Yeah.
very f-
They have money.
They
that's
have
I
more
think
of the
that's
money.
the issue. Yeah.
I highly recommend this festival to anyone who's interested in bourbon or Kentucky in general.
Yeah.
It's
a-
quite a showcase.
It
for
is.
the state.
It is a
It really
showcase. I'd like to see them expand it. Square footage wise, it didn't take up a huge amount.
No, but they
But
really
they did
packed
pack
a lot
it
in.
They did, yeah.
Location
Especially
has
in
a
the
lot to
craft.
do with that. There's a lot of history
Yes.
in that
Yeah,
location.
and part of the history, and one of the things we didn't talk about is this is all under enormous sized shade trees. Most
Yes.
of it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that makes all the difference. The craft section in particular.
Yes.
We
was very
it was
shaded. It
80
was a-
degrees, but as a general rule, we never felt that.
Yeah,
Because
it was very pleasant there. I was struck by a couple of things.
All right.
With this, one of them was the experience with the mixed drinks, the cocktails. I have not been a fan of mixing.
No,
the
you've
bourbon
been
and stuff.
very vocally on being a purist or ice only, basically, or a touch of water.
Right, and I stand by that as a general rule. And with the caveat, of course, that when we started out, we were mixing Coke in our bourbons because, one, we didn't know any better, and two, that's probably not a bad way to ease your way into bourbon because throwing somebody into the deep end and just giving them bourbon straight up or even on the rocks, that's a pretty intense experience.
it is. You got to be prepared.
You really have to learn to like it. But the other thing was, I go back to what we've talked about with Imaginarium. And, well, all of the bourbon tasting itself was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I go back to all of the interaction with the people.
People.
Just like at Imaginarium, getting to talk to those people. Now, we probably didn't get to talk to as many as deeply as we did with people at Imaginarium, but it's a similar kind of thing,
Oh, yeah.
which also is I find fascinating because me being more to the introverted side of that introvert extrovert scale, the personal interactions was important to me, because usually, now granted, it was the one-on-one, not being in the large crowd having a lot of fun. It was the one-on-one, so that still kind of fits. But that was just really nice. That interacting with others.
It was.
So many wonderful people, and we just just walk up, shake hands, and say, "Hey, we drink your stuff. We've talked about it. We love it."
And I'm kind of glad you mentioned that
great.
too, because and I think this might be going back to what you talked about. The locals were kind of bummed that they don't have the
There's
availability.
been noise over the last few years, especially
Some
with
of that
a
is-
ticket-only format
Well,
for it.
and
Yes.
I think that's wise for them because I get it. The local folks are just wanting freebies, and the serious bourbon folks are only the people that are there.
Well, yeah, you cannot give out taste like they did there without buying a ticket, and you have to have some limit on
That's
its
exactly
availability.
right. Because trust me,
Right.
all the local bums. I hate to say it this way. If it was free, that's all there would be there.
Well, and let's face it, it's not for the local
That's
people.
well,
It's
a
to
tourism event.
showcase.
Yeah, it's
Well,
tourism.
it's for
It's
those who buy
anybody that
bourbon,
wishes
who
to
those who
come to
love.
partake, that takes the time to buy a ticket, basically, like I
Well,
did.
yes, but I mean,
Yeah,
the whole
it's only
point is
for
to
serious
showcase
people, yeah.
all of these different brands, all across the state of Kentucky. These are not just local to the Nelson
No,
County
some were
area.
from out of Indiana, and I'm sure there's probably
Right.
some Ohio there, and
Yeah, yeah.
Georgia,
And
Tennessee.
judging by the distance that people came from, Australia and out west, Marcus and I talked to a very wonderful gentleman who served in the Air Force that came from New Hampshire. Great talking to him. Really enjoyed that. There were just the number of people that came from out of state, and I think that's probably the goal of the people who
That's right.
organize
They
this
wanna-
is to have these people come here and take that love of bourbon back to where they came
Oh,
from.
yeah.
It's not unlike what we do with the bourbon break. We want to share how much we love the bourbon
It's
experience.
a large
with
scale
the wider audience.
ambassadorship going on over there.
Well, it's,
Yes.
it's bourbon
Bourbon
evangelization is
industry.
what it is.
Yes, it is. It is a form of evangelization.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any major points? Did you cover everything you wanted to, Robert?
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's only been a ticketed style event, just
About
a very,
5 years at best,
2 or
maybe
3.
only 3 or 4. I don't
I mean,
remember the
'cause I know
exact
it got
year it
wiped out in
started.
2020 completely.
2015, it was still free. 2016, I know it was still free. I think it was free in 2017 also.
Yeah.
After that, I cannot say for sure. But yeah,
Did they cancel it for COVID?
It went virtual in 2020,
Right.
it says here on
Yes.
Wikipedia.
Really? How do you do this virtually?
you
And
don't get the taste, but you get the information.
Yeah, that's about all it was.
so
Lots
it-
of
Kind of like
talking.
window shopping, I guess.
yeah.
Takes all the
I
real
guess.
It used
fun
to be
out of it.
open to anybody. You could drag your kids into it.
Right, that is not
that
allowed
was-
anymore.
No,
They
no,
have
it used to be
into
kids
some of
running
this.
everywhere, and it went late into the night, and it's a much classier situation for the more
And in fairness,
serious
too,
bourbon
it's
enthusiasts.
not the only thing that takes place in this town during that time. It's
No.
the draw.
There
but
are other things
many
going
other
on.
events that go on that are open for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Right,
that's something
right,
that the whole town is full, not just the actual
Right.
where we were, the official Bourbon Fest.
Yeah.
Well,
Right. Yeah, all of that stuff that happens in the parking lot area of the
At St. Joe, yeah, that's where.
at St. Joe, there's all kinds of different stuff going on there that anybody.
Sure, and
can
that's
walk
those are
up
food
to.
trucks, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
those folks out there. We didn't do any of that, but we walked.
there was
past
probably
them.
some music and stuff going on in the evening uptown too. in
Yes,
other
Thursday
areas.
evening apparently there was quite a bit of stuff
Yeah,
going on.
they had after some grumbling the first couple of years, they did start adding some more free events in for the locals further up in the downtown area.
Well, and that's also not just for the locals. What
No,
that
that's for
is,
everybody, but
well, that's for the local establishments.
that helps
Yeah,
them out. Yes,
It helps their
Yes.
business. Yeah.
How many people went to the various restaurants for lunch,
Well, as we
or
as
breakfast
we
or
did
dinner?
yesterday.
or
That's
whatever.
right. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was it's a
visited
huge
the
draw in a town
Mammy's.
that is built on tourism, mind you. That's
Right.
That's
And,
its
you
number
know,
one industry.
That's just a wonderful area to walk, anyways. I fell in love with that the first time I drove through
it
it.
is. It is.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I'm going to say one more thing here before we let Francis take us on out and wrap this up. It's been a pleasure and an honor having y'all out here all weekend long, which is a totally different format from
Thank
usually
you.
getting together for the day. And I didn't realize it till earlier, and it's a shame, but 5 years ago, yesterday, my dad passed away, and
Yeah, you were.
we've been having such a good time and stuff, it didn't even register on me until the day. And,
Well, that means you're in the throes of really healing from that. That it does, because when
well, in
the
a
day
sense,
when
there's
my
a
mom
lot
and
of healing
dad-
from that, but that's a whole nother show that we don't do
Yes.
here in this format.
But, I noticed that the first time or two when the date of my mom and dad's passing, mostly my dad's, because my mom died 2 days before my birthday, so it's kind of hard to forget that.
Oh,
one.
yeah.
But where I don't always remember on the day that it happened anymore.
But, yeah, I'm really glad it worked out with y'all out here during this time and everything, and it's
It's been a blast.
really been a blast, and hopefully we can make it happen again.
Yeah.
We'll see what
Yes,
next
it
week
has been
brings.
wonderful.
So, Francis, what's up next?
Well, we're not finished with bourbon, guys. We're going to go next into. We've done a lot of talk about, bourbon has just kind of taken over our lives in many ways, especially this weekend. We're going to go back to the roots of this amazing product and this amazing area where we're in this weekend and talk a little bit about how it all came about, where it all went. We'll see how far we can go with it. Cajun has been saying he doesn't think we can do this in one episode, so we'll see if maybe we come back and do it again. But history of bourbon, next time around, be here.
We hope you enjoyed another pointless discussion of eternal questions. Remember, new episodes drop every second and fourth Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern, just in time for your morning commute. And every fifth Friday, we drop a special Hoopajoob episode. Spread the word we are on all the major platforms, and leave us a review. That helps others find us. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as our website, snakesandotters.com. Join us next time. Same snake time, same otter channel.